Unit 5: Conservation and Climate Change Mitigation. Climate action aligned to critical conservation issues in local context. For centuries, indigenous and rural communities have lived closely with nature. Their food, homes, and livelihoods depend on the natural resources around them. They've learned to read the environment, anticipate changes, and adapt. These communities are the original conservationists. In this video, we'll explore how these communities are leading the way in ecological conservation, preserving their environments while adapting to the challenges of climate change. By the end, you'll have a better understanding of the small steps we can take to support conservation efforts and how we can all be part of the solution. Let's start by acknowledging the deep connection the indigenous and rural communities have with the land. For example, the Andaman tribal communities in India were able to read the sign of the 2004 tsunami before it struck. They moved to higher grounds and saved themselves. This kind of knowledge passed down through generations shows us the value of community-focused conservation. When we talk about conservation, we are not just talking about saving forests or wildfires. We are talking about protecting entire ecosystems, soil, water, plants, animals, and the process that keeps them healthy, like pollination, flood prevention, and seed dispersal. But conservation isn't just about the environment, it's about people. When communities are the heart of conservation efforts, the outcomes are long-lasting. Indigenous and rural communities rely on natural resources for their livelihoods, whether it's farming, fishing, or ecotourism. So it's in their best interest to protect those resources for future generations. Let's break down what happens when communities take charge of conservation. First, there are clear ecological benefits: protecting habitats, supporting natural processes like soil regeneration, and reversing environmental degradation. But that's not all. Communities benefit socially too. They take ownership of conservation efforts, using their knowledge to manage natural resources and work with experts to enhance their practices. Take the Assam Hathi Elephant Project in India, for example. Communities in Assam worked together to prevent elephants from damaging their crops. With the help of solar electric fences and community-led maintenance committees, they were able to protect both their livelihoods and the elephants' habitats. They didn't just solve a problem, they took control of the environment, and this is conservation in action. Communities around the world are stepping up in the fight against climate change and environmental degradation. Let's take a look at some examples. In Nagaland, India, the community led a Moor Falcon roosting area union patrols the area to protect these migratory birds from being hunted. Since they began in 2013, hunting has stopped completely. In Tanzania, the Sustainable Rangelands Initiative is protecting areas where both people and wildlife interact. Volunteers from local communities monitor pasture quality using mobile technology, sharing vital updates with the rest of the community to ensure that the land remains sustainable for all. And on the coast of Chennai, India, fishing communities at Kovalam Beach turned an ecotourism initiative into conservation efforts. Along with offering diving lessons, these locals are collecting plastic wastes from ocean floors, helping to protect marine biodiversity. And in Gujarat, India, communities protect the whale shark because of a belief that these creatures must return to their birthplace to give birth. This cultural connection has led to the preservation of a species. Isn't that powerful? How can we better align conservation efforts with cultural practices? But some traditional conservation practices are being lost. In many cases, policies and market pressures have encouraged change that prioritizes short-term gains over long-term sustainability. For example, replacing natural fertilizers with chemicals or focusing monoculture crop instead of diverse local varieties. So, how can we engage communities in local conservation efforts? First, it's important to recognize that impacts of climate change on ecosystems. Conservation initiatives must take into account the needs to anticipate, mitigate, and adapt to these changes. When planning a conservation project, here are a few steps to keep in mind. 1. Access to community needs. Talk to local people through focus groups or interviews to understand the environmental challenges they face. Ask them how climate change has affected their land, their crops, or even their health. 2. Map stakeholders. Identify who will be involved in the project. This includes community leaders, women, youths, and external stakeholders like NGOs, funding agencies, or government representatives. 3. Monitor progress. Communities should be part of the monitoring process. Make adjustments when needed. This builds confidence and ensures that everyone stays invested in the project's success. And 4. Document the journey. Keep recording, whether through written reports, videos, or photos. This helps communicate the story beyond the community. Sharing successes can also inspire other groups to take similar action. In one of the CEE's projects, women were trained to use cameras to document their conservation efforts. These stories became powerful awareness-raising tools, helping to spread the word about their work and inspire others. At the end of the day, community-based conservation isn't just about protecting nature. It's about empowering people. It's about creating livelihoods, preserving culture, and ensuring that future generations can thrive along the ecosystem they depend on. Your action today shapes tomorrow. Join the movement for conservation and climate resilience. This publication was made possible through the funding provided by Global Affairs Canada under the Empowering Women and Girls project. The Commonwealth of Learning wishes to thank the contributors to this video: Kuntal D, Sandy Hertz, Frances Ferreira, Sarah Skithuva, and Collins Omonde.